Welcome back to the Nafeesa Dangor Show. And trust me, this segment is something that you definitely need to listen to. Every single one of you need to listen to this. We're going to be speaking to Sister Nadia Kajee. And let me tell you a little bit about her. She's a life coach, a breathing coach, and a mental health advocate. Today, we're going to be talking to her about the benefits of breathing correctly and breathing exercises in relation to COVID 19. And I think this is imperative. It's something that is relatable to every single one of us. So let's get involved by getting that cup of coffee, sitting down on our lounge suites, and having this very important, imperative chat that's going to entice us into treating our lungs in a better way. Let's put it that way. Let's welcome Sister Nadia Kajee. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, Nafeesa?
Alhamdulillah, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. I'm currently on holiday, as you can see.
I wish I was there where you are right now. I hope you're staying safe while you're there.
I am. Yeah, we're practicing social distancing, not going out too much.
But it's nice because sometimes the change in environment just does one some good.
I think we were all getting a bit of cabin fever being at home for such a long time, and we just needed to go out.
It's very relatable, my dear, indeed, very relatable. Talk to us a little bit about yourself. It's so interesting to see what you're going to be talking to us about today. But just talk to us about Nadia Kajee. How did you get involved with this?
Okay. What happened was 14 years ago, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and panic and anxiety disorder. And unfortunately, I was a textbook case for panic and anxiety. And what my doctor suggested I do is learn breathing exercises to help me. So from taking chronic medication 3 times a day for anxiety, I now only take it at night, part of my bipolar meds. So by learning to breathe correctly and the various breathing exercises, I have reduced my meds, and that has taught me to learn to help myself holistically. And, I realized the importance of it and how important it is for everybody to know how to breathe correctly to help them also.
It's nice to see that there's a different approach to having to just take meds. A lot of the times that's the first thing people run for. But I always believe in the natural alternative because, as we know, these meds all have after effects on the person's system and how it works and their side effects and things like that. But by doing these breathing exercises, I think now is the most important time to bring up this topic because with COVID-19 and a second wave in place here, I think there's a lot of that people that are having that fear and the panic attacks are coming in besides, of course, having to go through those such situations where, we're having people going through COVID breathing issues as well.
It's very important that what breathing exercises do is they not only put you in a calmer state, but they help to strengthen your lungs, which is very important.
And I like what you're saying. What's important for me, Nadia, is that you're talking about, a calmer state. And I think this, we throughout the period of this COVID, we've actually been speaking about anxiety and depression. And a lot of people have been dealing with this and not realizing that the breathing assists with that as well.
A lot. I mean, I approve of it with my bipolar and with my anxiety and stuff like that. It's helped me tremendously.
Yeah, so talk to us. What I think a lot of people are hearing this word for the first time. Not everybody's been tapped into this. What is a breathing coach?
Okay, so what a breathing coach is, I teach you how to breathe correctly, help you to become more mindful of your breathing, and teach you how your breath and your emotions are connected. Also, how to heal your body holistically with the different types of breathing techniques you can do.
I understand what you're saying.
Nafeesa, you'd be surprised to know that we only use 30% of our lung capacity. And that's quite shocking.
That's actually quite shocking and scary because a lot of the times, people say, breathe, you're not breathing properly.
No, it is. We are part of this overstressed, anxious culture, and we've unconsciously trained ourselves to breathe improper due to stress and other lifestyle factors. And respiration is one of the most important functions of the body. Yet it's astonishing how little or no attention we pay to the importance of breathing correctly. The main function of proper breathing is to bring more oxygen to the blood and brain, to conserve energy and increase your energy. If you take a few seconds and think about how you're breathing, you'll notice that a lot of us take very shallow breaths.
That is so true. I think I'm one of them. I'm sitting right here and you got me thinking. My question to you would be, we're going through the second wave. It's so difficult for everybody. Besides the anxiety, what sort of breathing exercises should we do facing this period of COVID-19? Getting rid of that anxiety. Of course, a lot of people having COVID, I mean, the figures are increasing as we speak, having to deal with that. What sort of advice would you give them?
People need to first realize that we're experiencing a deadly global pandemic. And that's first the most important thing we need to do. You need to stay safe. You need to practice social distancing. You need to wear a mask, sanitize your hands. And personally, I think to avoid any gatherings, whether it's large or small. And and then from a holistic point, we need to strengthen our lungs. We need to breathe correctly to help us to be in a calmer state, because that with this COVID pandemic, we've been facing lots of challenges that we never thought that we would.
And that's very true. And I think people are going through a very difficult period due to the fact that, besides the normal challenges they've had, COVID has added on a lot more to it. So let's talk through this. Besides, of course, having to be safe, social distance, wearing those masks, how do we actually get our lungs going in a better state? Because I think people don't understand the different types of breathing that we have to do. We breathe and we think, okay, that's it. We're breathing, it's fine. But there's, I think, a lot more to it than that.
You need to understand how your lungs work, basically. We need to know that our lungs are divided into three parts. So you've got the top part of your lung, you've got the middle part, and then you've got the lower part of your lung. And when you breathe correctly, what happens is you fill the whole lung with oxygen. What happens is we seem to be breathing very shallow, which only fills the top and the middle part. And this also makes us tired all the time.
I think we don't realize that. So would you like to do a breathing technique with us, an exercise that people can try out? And, like they say, seeing is believing. I think the experience is more important, so people understand what it is that they need to do to put them in a better space as far as their lungs go, especially through this period.
I'm going to show you the most simple type of breathing exercise you can do. What you first need to do is we're going to place our hands on our tummy and we're going to inhale through our nose. And what you're going to do is you're going to imagine that this air going in through your nose is filling the belly, your tummy, like a balloon. And then we're going to exhale, inflating the balloon. So let's do this together. So we're going to place our hands on our tummy. We're going to breathe in slowly through our nose. The air going into your nose moves down so you feel your stomach rise. And when we breathe this way, we'll find that our muscles relax. Do this gently. And when we exhale, we are taking out all that stale air, making place for new, fresh, oxygen-rich air. Let's do this exercise one more time.
Okay.
So again, we're going to inhale, gently filling our tummy with air, and you can feel the tummy rising like a balloon. And gently we're going to exhale, taking out all that stale air, making place for fresh, new oxygen to come back in. We need to teach these breathing exercises, and this one is so simple to do. We need to teach it to our kids as well. For little kids, this will help them to self-regulate and to help them to calm themselves down. You can't tell a child to calm down in the midst of a tantrum if you haven't taught them how to calm down. And so what I tend to do is the minute the tantrum starts with my 7-year-old, I'm like, breathe.
But
Just
I
to
think it's
help.
relatable because I mean, in a lot of instances, when you find yourself in a situation, the first thing a person tells you is breathe. But I think we're breathing incorrectly. And so that's not solving the problem as such.
It is, and our older kids and our teenagers are also facing so many stressful situations, and learning to breathe correctly will help them, and this will also help them develop good breathing habits.
Hmm. How often and when do you suggest we would, do these exercises? A lot of the times people think, oh, I need to do this just once or twice for the day and I'm sorted out. But I think the way I see it, it's something that you have to do all the time.
Look, proper breathing doesn't take away much from the task at hand. Like, for example, you could be listening to me speak and you could still be doing your breathing exercises. You can be doing it while you're driving, while you're cooking, while you're watching a movie. What I used to do is initially I used to put post-it notes all over my house with the word breathe on it, just to remind me,
Right.
because we need to start becoming mindful of it. And a lot of
Mm.
people I suggest put it on your phone, put a reminder. What's also a good habit to develop is doing this before you pray your salah.
Okay.
So take in deep belly breaths before you start, and this will help to calm you, and so that your mind isn't all over the place and you can concentrate better. What the breathing
Yeah.
exercises also does is when you strengthen your lungs, you find that when you're reading Quran, you don't get out of breath too quickly.
Mm. And I think it also helps you with your focus because, like,
It does.
it's all got to do with mindset. And if your body is not right and your mindset's not right, I think everything, the whole equation is out of proportion there. So I think the breathing technique is going to try and help just bring a little bit of it together.
It's true. And what you realize is, when we take in shallow breaths, what's happening is those shallow breaths are actually causing anxiety. And so if you suffer from anxiety, that isn't a good way to breathe.
Wow. I think that should help a lot of people that are suffering from that. And as we know, with COVID-19 on our doorstep, I should say almost everybody is suffering with this anxiety because they're in situations that they've never been before. And I think this is one way of teaching them to actually cope with it.
It is. It is. What we don't realize is um, when we breathe correctly, our lungs fill with this rich oxygen that is passed through to our blood cells, and this, improves every function of every system in the body. And
Yeah.
when we exhale, all of that waste gets taken out, which is called carbon dioxide, making room for new fresh air. And that's why it's vitally important for every function of your body. Every organ needs this oxygen that we not seem to be giving it enough of.
Yeah. Is this just one of the exercises that we can use, or is there other exercises that we could go back to?
We this is the basic. This is what we learn when we first start the exercise. And what this will do is if you do this easy exercise 10 times a day for 6 to 8 weeks, then what happens is we begin to develop the habit of it. We live in a society where we unconscious, we speak unconscious, we eat unconscious, we talk unconscious, but we even breathe unconsciously, and we just need to be mindful of our breathing. And then I've got different breathing exercises to help to calm, to help with anxiety, to help give you energy. So those are all very helpful for
Mm.
anybody
Where can
that's
people refer back to this? Do they have to actually, have a consultation with you, or they could refer to a website that you have?
I'm I've got an Instagram handle, and that's called Coaching by Nadia Kajee, and that's where a lot of people contact me. Or I could give you my contact details or my email address, and I've got a lot of doctors also interested in referring their patients to me for breathing exercises. and that helps tremendously with helping their patients as well.
It does, because it creates a better holistic version of them getting better,
Yeah.
and not realizing how important their breathing is. Because, as we know, our body works very well with oxygen. And the way we're breathing is also, we're not taking enough of that oxygen in. So it's, of course, affecting us in many directions. And this is where you find all those ailments also coming into play.
It's true because if you think about it, when you stress, we what happens to our body is we go into what's called a systematic nervous system, which is
Mm.
activated when you're stressed. You know that flight or fight response that we
Yes.
have, and that was only made to last for a short period of time. But now, what's happened with us over time? Uh, we stress about work, school, home, bills. And so that stress isn't just for a short period of time. What happens is for weeks, months, years. And this creates havoc on our bodies. And so by breathing correctly, what we're activating is what's called our parasystematic nervous system. And this system does the opposite. It helps us to rest and digest, to be calm and at ease. And the two systems work in harmony. You know, Allah has given us this amazing ability to be able to breathe. And, we need to learn to use our breath correctly to help us.
Right. That is so true. What outcome do you see with your patients from when they come in to when they leave you with these breathing exercises? And the reason I'm asking this question is because I want our viewers and our listeners out there to be able to understand the value behind this and having to see a breathing coach, especially during this COVID-19 period. And I'm sure you're going to be doing some online courses, or should we say consultations as well, because it's such a difficult period right now.
Um, with anything that you're learning, you need to be consistent with it. Just like the breathing exercises you're going to do, you need to be consistent of it because then you're going to be mindful of it. And you'll notice when you start it, and like take anxiety, for example, there's a few things that I teach them to do while they're breathing as well. And I've had clients that just the breathing alone over a period of a few days has helped them tremendously with the anxiety, you know.
So besides the breathing, you were saying there's something else you teach them. Would you like to share that with us?
Yes, would you like to learn something for anxiety as well?
Yes, definitely. I think that is the biggest. I think that's one of the biggest issues at the moment. I think almost every person that I speak to or come into contact with, and this is why we've had a mindset coach on our show almost every week, is to try and get people to help them overcome it. But I think, coming from your perspective, it would be nice to also just give them a bit of that advice so they can create this holistic version of what they've learned from all the other segments, and then something different from you as well.
Exactly. And what I do is with the breathing exercise when it comes to anxiety, you have to be mindful of your thoughts as well. And that's very important. Like on the onset of your anxiety, what you first need to do is we're taking in deep breaths to the count of 4 through our nose. We're holding it to a count of 8. And then with a whooshing sound to a count of 7. So let's do that again. We're going to take into a count of 4, hold to a count of 8, and then with a whooshing sound to a count of 7. So you'll notice that what we all like to do sometimes when we're stressed,
When you're
it's
sighing. It
but this
really
is like
works.
you. It
Really
does.
works.
But and then what you need to be mindful about, what I teach my clients as well, is you need to tell yourself that this anxiety that you're feeling, it's just your body's response, but it's not actually that's happening outside of you. So you know if you get what I'm saying. So what I
Yes.
usually tell them is there's nothing that's happening inside of me. This is just my body's response. I can calm myself down. I just need to learn to breathe correctly. I need to concentrate on my breathing. This is where your concentration on breathing comes in, because because when you start concentrating on your breathing, your focus shifts from whatever was causing that anxiety.
That's true. You take your mind into another
You're taking
sphere.
your mind off it. Yeah. And it can be done anywhere and at any time. You don't have to sit in deep meditation and do it, because I don't think I can't do something like that.
I think we all have such busy lives. So it's nice that you've taught us these easy techniques that we could use just about anywhere. What message would you like to leave our viewers with this afternoon?
You know, our lungs, like I said, is one of the most important. Respiration is one of the most important functions of our body, and we do need to be mindful of how we breathe, just to help us holistically, to help us with our stress, to realize that Allah has given us this amazing, amazing ability, and He's given it to us to help us as well. So it's not just to breathe, but to help the body as well. And so breathing correctly is so important, whether you do it with a coach, whether you go online and find some breathing techniques that can help you, try start today and develop the habit and be consistent with it.
Right. But I want to thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, because you've definitely given us another holistic version of creating that well-being, especially through this particular COVID-19 period. Because, I think people's anxiety levels are increasing even more, because they're saying it's a second wave and it's a whole lot worse than it was before. And that alone just gets people onto a very serious anxiety level. So you've now taught us something totally different to what we've learned from the life coaches, to say that a breathing technique with everything else that you've learned is going to give you that holistic well-being that you're looking for. So thank you so much. It's definitely been a very valuable segment. We really appreciate your feedback as far as this goes. And do enjoy your holiday, but also do stay safe.
Thank
And
you for
take it down.
having me on your show.
And you can hear the sea. Just take one good breathe in for me. Thank you so much, Nadia. You
You're
take care of yourself.
welcome.
And we wish you nothing but the best for the new year. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That was Sister Nadia Kajee giving us some insight into, of course, breathing techniques. She is a breathing coach. And I think it was the first time that we literally learned about a breathing coach and the importance of our breathing techniques, and not realizing that we don't really necessarily have to go to the pill if we have anxiety levels as such, that we can, in a natural way, do these exercises and calm ourselves down. And of course, once we calm, then we're better focused. So that was really definitely an important segment. Stay with us. We have a very interesting gentleman who's going to be joining us after this break.